Hello.
Hi.
My jaw hurts. Ah. Hey
Not
guys.
up to dentist surgery.
Yeah, I know. Hi everyone. If you're just joining or you're watching, this class will be a speaking class, and we're going to continue practicing job interview questions. I don't think where I'm sitting will affect my jaw, unfortunately. I'm fine now, though. I'm just fidgety. So, come on in. We're going to do some practice. So, let's introduce ourselves. My name's Samantha. If this is your first class with me, it's nice to meet you. I'm Canadian. I live in Paris, and I'm moving back home in 2 weeks. Pretty crazy. So I'm gonna miss Paris, but I'm eating a lot of food for the next 2 weeks. Then I'll have
that.
Pardon?
Be careful about that.
The food here is amazing, so I'm just gonna stuff myself full of bread and cheese and wine, and then
I'm just saying that you sure that you're gonna lose all the weight that you're gonna gain?
no, no. I don't think so. I've already gained weight while I've been here. It's pretty hard not to. It's just like carb, 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 carb. Blue cheese. Yeah, I like blue cheese. I like all cheese.
Just give me cheese.
Just give me cheese. Just hit me up with some cheese and I'll take it. So that's me. And I've done a lot of job interviews in my life. So I'm used to being asked some of the common questions. So today I'll be helping you answer them. And you guys will get lots of practice just talking and answering questions. So let's just super quickly say our names and where we're from so we know where everyone's from. So I'm from Canada, near Toronto. And Daniela, where are you from?
I'm from Italy.
Whereabouts in Italy?
Now I'm not living in Italy because I live in Malta. In Italy, the environment is not good to find a job, so I moved with my husband here.
Okay. They speak English in Malta, right?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
So has your English improved a lot since you've been there?
Yes, I would like to improve my English because I would like to find a new job here.
Okay.
So this class is perfect for me.
But perfect. Good. So you'll get practice for sure. Igor, where are you from?
Hi, sorry, I'm from Israel. I live in Tel Aviv.
Okay, great.
And my problem is that when I speak in Verbling, I'm not sure that I speak correct, and nobody is correct me. So I cannot to compare my speaking with the right way. So
Okay.
I'd like to advise you to correct me if it is
Okay.
possible.
I'm actually going to correct something you just said, if I can.
Yeah, of course.
You should have said, I don't speak correctly, or I don't speak properly. I'm not sure. You can say, I'm not sure if I'm speaking proper English, or you can say, I'm not sure if I'm speaking properly. Make sure that you're using the adverb.
Okay,
you said,
thanks.
I'm not sure if I'm speaking correct. Should be correctly.
Okay.
But I'll try my best to correct you as we're going, okay?
So you got the point. Thanks.
For sure. So I got the point. I'm trying to start right off the bat. Okay. Okay. Firkin?
Yes.
Where are you from?
From my mother.
Oh, come on. What an awkward answer. From Turkey, everybody. Hi, Ravel. Raval, are you at school? Is that a closet or lockers behind you? Raval, can you hear me?
School.
It looks like I don't know. Raval to Josh? Okay. Maybe he's having some trouble. Hey again, Rodolfo.
Hi.
I know where you're from, but where are you from?
I'm from Mexico.
Oh, okay, cool. And hi, Roman. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Where are you
I'm
from?
still from Ukraine.
Oh, still okay, good. So nothing's changed in the last couple hours. Tuta, where are you from, Tuta?
From Thailand. I'm from
Thailand.
Thailand.
Great. Thailand. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Okay, let's jump right into it. Hopefully we can answer. There's still some questions on this list that we haven't covered yet. If you're interested in this class, we've actually done, I think, 2 other ones in the last 2 weeks. So if you look at my recorded lessons, you'll see there where we've had the same sort of class. So we've already practiced answering a lot of questions. So if you need lots of practice with this, I would recommend watching those ones just to get more ideas about how to answer. But hopefully we'll be able to answer some new ones today. So here's the we've been using. And I'm going to leave it up to you guys to choose which questions you want practice answering. So some of these are tougher than others. You won't be asked all of these questions in an interview, but these are some of the more difficult ones to answer effectively. So we're going to practice with these ones. And I don't know if we'll have time for everyone to choose a question, but hopefully we will. So let's start with Daniela.
Yes.
Okay, so do you see the list there?
Yes.
It's up to you. You can choose a question that you'd like to try to answer. Choose one that you think is difficult for you, if you can, okay?
I don't understand well the fourth one.
Okay, number 4.
Yes.
What major challenges and problems did you face, and how did you handle them? So they would be asking, what major challenges did you face at your last job? Or what major challenges have you faced at your previous jobs, and how have you faced them?
What were my previous goals?
No, challenges. So when I'm talking about facing, it's do you know the expression to face something?
No.
So if you're facing a problem, it means the problem is in front of you, you have a problem, and you're finding a way to deal with the problem, to cope with it. You're tackling it is another expression. So this question, they would be asking you to show them how you deal with problems. How do you problem solve?
Okay.
So so I'll ask you. So pretend we're at an interview.
Okay, I have to answer now.
So, yeah, okay. So what major challenges and problems have you faced at your previous jobs, and how did you handle them?
When I had that challenge, I prefer to think a lot about that problem, discuss with my colleagues about it, and try to find a best solution with them. It's enough?
Okay. So you would say, sorry, I'm taking notes as you're writing, okay? So if I don't answer like right away, that's why. So you would say you try to find the best solution, not a best. It's always the best when you're using the superlative. So the best solution. And that's a really good start. Now, what I would recommend is giving an example. Okay, so this is where it can get difficult to think on your feet. So that's another thinking on your feet, like right away going, okay, try to think of an example. But but rather than just answering the question, it's good to show them what you mean, you know? So try to think like, oh, for example, this one time, and then just explain how you solved a problem.
What do you suggest?
Let's see. So I would say, for example, one time I had a very difficult customer and I wasn't sure how to handle the situation. So I took a moment and I spoke to my colleague, got some advice from them, and then I applied that advice and this handled the situation the best way that I could. Something like that. So think of your answer and then try to think of how you've actually performed that. Right? Because what they're really asking is, can you solve problems? Like, are you going to be able to solve problems? Can you show us how? That's what they want to know with this question. You know?
Yes, the customer example is great for me because I used to work as an office manager in a lawyer office, so I used to have a lot of customers, and I helped a lot of them in your problem, their problem. But I found difficult to explain a typical situation because I try to take a separate position between me and customer, because if I was more sensitive with them, is not good for my job.
Right. Mm-hmm. Good. So I understand what you're saying. So another thing you can think of, if you can't think of like one specific moment, then do what you just did. Say, for example, when dealing with customers, and just speak in general. Because just talking about your customer relationship, that's a good example.
Yes, because for example, in my previous job, I had a lot of customers with the family problem, as divorce or something like that. So sometimes the problems are very in privacy. What can I find a good noun for a very private situation?
You can just say private. Like you could say that your customers have a lot of personal
very
problems, a lot of
personal. Because sometimes when somebody had to divorce to someone else, had a lot of problems, and those problems may be very, I don't know, difficult to explain, difficult to, and I can give my contribute to them because they didn't explain me their problem, because it's only in a privacy room with the lawyer. So when they called again, I never give a great suggestion.
Okay. First, I'm just going to make a couple notes. So make sure when you're using a lot of, you follow it with a plural. A lot of customers, not a lot of customer. I think you know that, but just when you're speaking, just remember, okay?
Okay.
And then you give your contribution to something, not contribute. Give your contribution, or you contribute. You don't give your contribute.
Okay.
You give a contribution. And people explain things to people. So someone explained that to me, or I explained that to them. People that you're using to. Okay, so yeah, you don't need to go too deep into the personal stuff, but what she was using it, I think, as the example, right? You were using the fact that their customers' personal stuff was part of your example, so that's fine. Yeah, so basically, to answer this question, they just want to see that you can problem solve, And rather than just giving them a one-sentence answer, it's better to give an example. You don't have to give them like a super long example, but just a couple sentences. Try to think in a nutshell, how do I problem solve at work? And then just tell them. Okay? Yeah, really good. Really good. Okay. Igor, would you like to choose a question?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. Try to choose one that looks tough.
No, I will just move to the next one. What is the great strengths?
Okay. What is your greatest strength?
My greatest strength is curiosity. After 13 years of experience in my area, I still like to know new technology and to invest new solutions. So when I face to a new problem, I don't afraid to ask questions, and if I don't know something, I go to books, I read a lot, and after a short period of time, I can be the best specialist in this area. That is my biggest strength.
Okay. First, about your language, you invest in something. Okay. So I invest in studying, or I invest my time in reading. Remember to use in. That's the preposition. You face a problem. You don't just face problem. Make sure you've got the a in there. I face a problem, or I face problems. But if it's singular, you need the a. Okay. You said I won't afraid to ask, or something like that. It should be I'm not afraid to ask, or I won't be afraid to ask.
Okay.
And
I don't.
I don't you can't say I don't afraid. That means I do not afraid, which doesn't work. You have to say I am not afraid.
Okay.
Okay. After a short period of time, I didn't hear you say but I think it might have just got muddled in there. So that's okay. And just a suggestion, you could say I want to improve myself to be the best that I can be. That's just a suggestion, because that's kind of what you were getting at the end. And general feedback, that was a really good answer. I really liked the word curiosity, because when you said that, I was like, oh, it's intriguing to tell someone that you're a very curious person. So I think that's a good answer. Overall, good answer, yeah. And you explained, you gave kind of an example. It wasn't too long. So yeah, it's really good. Do you have any questions for me?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay, good job.
Thanks.
Should I keep picking on you guys, or does anyone else want to? Maybe I'll ask for a volunteer this time. Does anyone want to volunteer to choose a question?
Me.
Me, says Rodolfo, I think. Rodolfo?
Yes.
Okay.
Should I choose a question?
Yeah.
Why should we hire you?
Okay, that's a good one. Why should we hire you?
Okay. Well, I have a. Well, can I suppose that this is a real job interview? Or,
yes. So pretend that you're interviewing for like your dream job, whatever job you would love to have right now. Why should we hire you? What would you tell me?
Well, I have a lot of knowledge in this area, and also a lot of experience that I obtained from being working in other places, like many international companies. I also have very good references from other people who I have worked with, and also I'm a very responsible person. I always try to do the best I can, Uh, for example, I have a very good experience in quality assurance. For example, when I was working with the other company, in the last company,
Hmm.
I was able to help them to uh, to establish some quality measures
Hmm.
to the for being applied to the process, and it worked very good. Um, that's the main things I think I am able for this job.
Where is it coming from? I don't know. Where's the, it's okay. Okay, Rodolfo, very good. A couple notes about your language. Um, I have very good references. So, I would actually avoid saying it quite like that. I have good references. A better way to say it maybe is that you have, let me type, you could say something like, I have built, this is maybe a little cheesy. I have built long-lasting relationships with my previous employers. A little cheesy, but saying good references, it's not the greatest choice of language. Rather than talking about your references, you want to talk about them as people, like connections, people that you know, relationships that you've built. You could say, I have a handful of working relationships that will come in handy with this job, something like that. Like, okay, I'll give you some more options. I'm typing, so just give me a sec. Another way you could say it, over the years, I've built strong professional relationships and have a number of contacts who you may be interested in speaking with. So you thinking of words like relationships, contacts, people, rather than the word references the word references sounds a bit too distant. Okay, so it's fine to have it written. Raval, can you please stay muted or use headphones because we can hear your music. So yeah, it just sounds a little bit distant. Just you want them, you know what I mean? So I would just maybe reword
Yes.
it, but it's okay to mention that you know people, right? That's what you want to say. You know, I know people. They'll tell you how awesome I am, but you just want to use like a little bit of different language so it sounds more personal to you.
Yes,
Like
I
they're
think.
humans, right? Not you know. Um, so that was one thing.
I think
Uh,
I will
and
write what
yeah,
you wrote.
uh, Damien. What's Damien doing? Hey, Damien.
Pasó.
Sorry. Okay, I have connections to get this job. Yeah, you could mention your connections. You could say something like, I feel I have strong connections in this field, and something like that. Just the word references, I don't know, it sounds cold to say a little bit.
Yes.
Another thing I have a good experience in, you don't have a good experience, you just have experience.
Okay.
If you have a good experience, that means like you had a good time. You were having fun. That's a good experience. But if you have good experience, that means you've worked a lot and you have sufficient working experience. So eliminate the "a" in that sentence. And you work at a company, not in a company. You work at a company.
Okay.
Overall, really good answer. So you've told them you've got experience, you know people, you have, did you mention your education or just your experience?
I just mentioned my experience, but I also said that I have academic knowledge about it.
Yes, yeah, that's what academic knowledge. That's a good way to put it without going too deeply into your schooling. So that was good. Generally, yeah, I would say good answer. Not too long. And the only thing that kind of caught me was the references. Just be careful about how you mention them, but it was good.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other volunteers to answer a question?
I can try.
Roman?
Yes. Can you choose a question for me, because I think it will be more.
Sure. Okay. Let's do one that we didn't do before. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear.
What are you passionate about?
What you passionate about? Oh, it's a very interesting question, but I don't know how it connects to my work. But I can try to. I think it can be something connecting with my work. Yes, because my employer want to know something. Okay, my main passion is. Okay. My main passion is organize work of other people. So I like to work with people and to manage their work. In my work, I usually have a few person who work under me, and it's real exciting when I can achieve my goal with my team due to my managing. So I think people organization my passion.
Okay. So your passion is the people that is working with people?
Yes, I think not. I think manage of people work, managing of people work.
Okay, managing other people's work.
Yes, yes.
So you could say, I enjoy managing other people, or I enjoy monitoring other people's work.
I think managing things more.
Managing people, working with people.
Yes.
I would try to include the word leader in there. Leadership. Leadership is a strong word that goes along with management. Good to hear. I'm not sure if you're answering the passion. So what I would do with this question is think of it like you're writing, and the first thing you need to do is tell us your thesis, because it took a minute for me to understand where you were going. So I think a better way to answer it is the first sentence. So if I ask you, what are you passionate about? The first thing you say is, my biggest passion is working with people. And then you explain.
Okay.
Because it was a good answer, but it was unclear until about halfway through.
I see. I should underline emphasis in first questions, my passion, that employer can understand me.
Right. So when this goes for most interview questions, it's good to be very clear and very direct. So answer the question in 1 or 2 sentences. Answer it with the simple answer, like this is your answer, right? What is your greatest strength? Who answered that question? I don't know if there's
Igor.
Yeah, Igor's gone, but Igor answered it very well. My greatest strength is my curiosity. And then he explained. That's a very strong way to approach questions like this, because there's no way for the other person to get lost, right? You're being very direct, very clear. So yeah, that would be my biggest advice for you, Roman. Great choice of what to talk about for your passion, because you found something that applies to work. So that's very good. you don't want to tell them like my greatest passion is jogging. And you try to apply it to work and you're like, because I like to jog after work.
Yes, yes.
It's not the greatest, right? So a good response is like what you've done. You think of something that apply that they'll go, oh, okay, I like to hear that you know how to jog, right? They probably wouldn't think that, but they think, oh, good, he's a people person, right?
Actually, that's why I asked you to ask me, because I didn't understand this question. And first, I think about jogging, but
Yeah.
I thought it's not connect with job.
I know, because you said, okay, how do I answer it? Because you're thinking like, I know what she doesn't want to hear. Yeah, it was good though. It's really good. So the best thing to do is be honest, like about something you love, but make sure you can find a way for it to apply to work. Make it something they want to hear, right? If you can find a way for jogging to link like directly into your job, then go for it, right? Okay. Any questions for me, Roman? No? Don't be too
No,
honest.
thank you, thank you. It was very interesting, and that's why I will. And I have some practice with listening, because actually I had a few interview in Canada. So, and VerbaLink helped me in preparing to this
Oh, good.
interview.
Good,
So it's
good.
very good practice for everybody.
Hey, I'm curious. What sort of questions were you asked?
I have a free meeting. I had free meeting with employee, and one the most important meeting with immigration officer, and it was very successful meeting because I received to permit for further immigration to Canada. That's why VerbaLink very good tools for people who want to develop their speaking skills, I think.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's awesome.
Okay.
So are you
Yes.
moving to Canada?
Yes, but it will be very long process. I think it will be about 1 year.
Of course, I'm Canadian, so I'm like, yeah, come to Canada.
Yes, yes, I know,
That's
because
very exciting.
I was impressed how to Canadian people meet people from another countries. It was exciting. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good job. Wow, that's a big step.
Yeah,
So I'm
thank
really
you.
glad that you did so well with your interview. That's great. Are you gonna have another interview?
Thanks. Maybe. Some employers want to have a Skype interview with me. That's why I try to go on my improving in English, improving my English skill.
Okay, awesome. All right. Anyone else want to be questioned?
Yeah.
Okay, Raval, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna choose one for you. Or would you like to choose one? Or do you want me to
No, you
surprise
choose.
you? Okay.
No, you better choose.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think of one that we didn't use.
Okay.
Okay. What did you like or dislike most about your previous job?
Oh, but I haven't. I did not have any job.
Okay.
I'm a fresher.
Okay. So if you have no job experience, that's fine. But be careful how you answer. So instead of saying, "Well, I've never had a job," and then letting it die, that's not that they're gonna go, "Oh, okay." So you want to think of, yeah, you could do "if I had a job," or try to think of other things in your life. Have you ever been to school?
Yeah. Actually, I have internship. right
Good.
now.
An internship, that's a
But
job.
yeah,
There you
it's
go.
a kind of training.
You can talk about your internship, but
Yeah, sure.
if you really if you don't have work experience, try to think of like school. Have you ever given presentations? Have you ever done group work?
Yeah,
Have you ever been in a club? Like anything. Just think about what you would put on your
yeah.
resume, your life experiences, and make
Mhm.
sure you answer your question with that instead of just, well, I don't have that.
Yeah,
So you could say, well, although I've never had professional employment, I have blah, 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 right? So you have to shape your answer. So let's try again, okay? Ready?
okay.
Okay.
So,
What did you like or dislike most about your previous job?
actually, I was working in one small company, and it's about I had given one small project, and I was working in on time tracking application. Uh, and it's basically what it does, that application do is it records employees current time and it's any time, means live time. So when employees comes at office, he start the application and record its start time. And when he leaves the job, he can end the time. So it's about HRMS. It's a human resources management system. So I like to work with that application, but which I don't like is they have given me some Photoshop work sometime to do
They've
some
given
photo
you,
editing.
I missed the last thing you said. They've given you,
They given me some Photoshop like picture editing some images and
okay.
yeah, something like that work. But we are not there to do that kind of work. We are there to do some programming and to improve our programming skill. So I do not like that hmm, editing stuff.
Okay. So, that's a good start, but the only thing that I would warn you from doing in an interview, never say something that you don't like unless you're going to give us the bright side. So, do you know what I mean when I say the bright side? So it's okay to tell people that you don't like something, but make sure there's a but. So if you're saying I don't really like editing, but like try to turn it around and give us like the bright side of that. But within that editing project, I found a way to program. I don't know. So just try to think of, always try to give us the bright side. Never leave anything on a negative. Like, you always want to end all of your questions on a positive note. Okay?
Yeah.
So
anything correctness and
yeah, so you could say like the graphic design portion wasn't my favorite thing to do, however, but I found a way to adapt it to my skills. That's kind of a generic answer, something like that.
but I'm telling that anything anything suggesting speaking style or pronunciation, any mistake.
Yeah, so another thing to note about your language was I typed don't. You do a project.
Yeah.
You give a presentation.
Yeah, I do a project or I did a project.
Yeah, I did a project. You don't give a project. You just do a project. You give a presentation. Okay, so that's verb notes about your verbs. And then besides that, it was fine. Everything was pretty clear. The only thing I would just avoid, like I said, is don't be negative. And if you're asked a really hard question, like in this case, you immediately think, "Oh crap! I've never had a job. What do I do? What do I do?" just try to think of something in your experience that you can work into an answer for them. Yeah. instead of like
Yeah.
freezing when you're like, oh no, no, they asked me that. You just want to, yeah, it's really good though. Okay.
Okay,
Do
thank
you
you.
have any questions for me? Okay for now. Does anyone else want to try? We haven't heard from Juan or Firkin. Juan, do you want to try answering a question?
Can I?
Sure. Let me see. Firkin, do you want to do one?
Okay.
You don't seem too interested. Like, meh. Okay, Firkin, let's get Firkin to do one, and then Daniela, I'll get you to do another one after, okay? Okay, Firkin, do you want me to choose one, or do you want to choose one?
Here, choose your favorite number.
What is your greatest weakness?
You asked that question again.
I know, but I want to answer this time.
Okay. Give me 10 seconds. What?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let me think. Okay, I remember.
What is your
my-
greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness, sometimes I become obsessed with the job that I'm doing, and I give myself too much into the job, and sometimes I forget what I'm doing in my personal life. So I see as a weakness because in my personal life it might cause problems, but it's positively affect what I'm doing. And most of the times people who are around me can understand me because they know why I'm doing that and what I'm doing that, so they can understand, and it's not that big deal for them, but for maybe others that may be considered as a weakness.
It's not that big of a deal. I think that's the same answer you gave last time. Is it?
No. Last time you talked about perfectionism.
Ah, okay. So this time, you're a workaholic. That's what that is. When you work too hard and you put like your blood, sweat, and tears into your job, you'd say you're a workaholic. But I wouldn't use that word in an interview, though. But yeah, that was a good answer. So your greatest weakness is that you work too hard. That's a good way to. So you're taking the approach of where you're trying to turn a positive into a weakness. Right?
Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Daniela, would you like to choose a question? Do you see one that you want to try, or?
I received twice this question, and I would like to discuss about it with you.
Sure.
A question is there something would you like to change in yourself?
Okay.
And I usually to answer I'd like to be more positive. Because sometimes I feel blue. I don't be positive, and it's not good for my personality. But when I was working, I take apart this kind of me. This is part of me, because when I worked, my focus is a job.
Okay.
What
Yeah, that's a tough question. So they're asking if you could change anything about yourself, what would you change? Positivity. So you're answering and saying that you have. Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, it said I was muted. I don't know. So when you're answering, you're telling them that you have trouble being positive in your personal life, but you keep those problems at bay, like when you go to work. You don't have a. Okay. I don't know if that's the best answer to talk about positivity. Let me think of what else could we say. Something you want to change about yourself. So I think that the best way to answer this question is to think of it as the weakness question. So the what is your greatest weakness? So what you want to try to do is think of it's hard to think of a positive that could be construed as a negative. So what Firkin just did was tell us his greatest weakness is that he works too hard. What I might say is my greatest weakness is that I need everything to be perfect and in line before I hand it in. So I'll check things over 5 times, and sometimes that monopolizes my time. It takes too much time. OCD, right? So you think of something that could be considered a weakness and say that that's what you want to change. So I would say if I could change anything about myself, I would maybe loosen up a little bit at work and not focus too much on perfection, on like perfecting everything, to allow myself to get more accomplished. So instead of talking about your personal, I'm just trying to veer away from talking about your personal life. That's not really something that you want to bring up in an interview, because you don't want them to think that your personal life is going to affect you at work. And when you mention it in an interview, it suggests that the two mix for you, you know? So I would just avoid bringing it up unless they directly ask you, like, tell me about your family or something, if they're trying to be friendly. I wouldn't mention your personal life unless they ask. So for this sort of question, you want to think of like a professional aspect of yourself that you would like to improve, and show them that you're willing to improve yourself. You know, that you're, it's a good quality to be trying to improve, to be open to criticism, open to feedback. So I think that's what they're kind of digging at. They want you to be able to show that you want to improve, that you can take criticism, that you can listen and take feedback. So what's another example? You could say, if I could change anything about myself, well, I wouldn't use time. Let me find the weakness question and see what they've suggested for us. Like this, for example. There's actually a list of possible answers. So take a look at this. And you want to think of this question as very similar to the weakness question, because you're showing them a weakness that you could improve. That's kind of the answer. So it's telling us here, like, non-essential skills that you've improved. Turn a negative into a positive is what I'm talking about. For example, a sense of urgency to get projects completed, or wanting to triple check everything, can be turned into a strength, right? So you would say something like, something I would like to improve about myself is not being so intense about triple checking everything, because, you know, if I loosen up a bit, I'll be able to accomplish more work, something like that. So I would veer away from the personal stuff. Can you guys see me? I don't know what happened. Or can you just see my screen?
Yeah.
You can see me?
Screen.
Yeah.
Screen.
My screen, okay. Can you see me now?
No, like, no.
No, okay. I'm having Hangout problems. Let me try this. Turn this off. Now? No? Okay, well, that's all right. You don't have to look at me for the last minute. Daniela, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you have any questions about that?
No, I understand. Yes.
Okay, so I want you to try to answer it for me. I'm going to refresh. I'll be back in like 2 seconds. Be right. So try to answer it, Daniela. Avoid personal stuff and try to think of like a professional thing that you could improve. So if you could change anything about yourself, what would you change?
I'm very perfectionist, but sometimes at work it is a weakness because if I pay more attention to details, can I lose the right way to do something?
Mm-hmm. Good. Perfect. So you're thinking more of something professional than personal, and that's the first step for sure. Now, I would just advise you to kind of plan it out in your head. Plan for questions like, what's your greatest weakness? And questions like, what would you like to change about yourself? And you've got a really good start there. Talking about perfectionism, it's a good start. I would just think about it a little bit and plan out what you would like to say, and then practice it. It's hard to think of something right away for that. Sometimes you do need to prepare for questions. This is one of them. That even me, I'm sitting here going, how do I answer that? Because I haven't been preparing for an interview. But when I do actually prepare. I take like half an hour and think, okay, they're going to ask me this. What am I going to say? And you remind yourself. So this is the question where you should plan it just a little bit. But yeah, better response already, because the vibe that I get when you say like you're not that as positive in your personal life, it makes me think you're like a sad person. You know, you're negative, and you don't want to give that vibe to anyone, right? So it's better I think to just leave out the personal stuff. But yeah, better answer already for sure. So think of it as the weakness question, just reworded. Yeah. So we've got just a few minutes. Does anyone have any other questions they want to tackle quickly before we go? Or questions about interviews?
I would like.
Okay. Do you have a question, Roman? Or you want me to ask you a question?
Yes, I want you to ask me.
Okay. Let's find another one. I lost my document. Let me just think of one. What sort of salary are you looking for? How much would you like to be paid?
Oh, it's a really interesting question. So I had some investigation about rate of salary in Canada. So I think it will be normal to start for $14 per hour for low position. And of course, when my qualification will be appropriate for this job, I want to have some increase in my salary.
Okay, good. So you took the approach of actually giving them a number, which is fine. There's some different ways to answer this question. So one way is if you really know how much you want to be paid, tell them. That's one way. I would recommend giving them a range rather than just one number. So you could say, I'd like to be paid between maybe $14 and $18 an hour or something. Give them a range, because you don't want to shoot too low and then they were actually thinking of paying you $16.
I see.
You just shot yourself in the foot. It's an expression.
Yes,
right? So you're better to give them a bit of a range, and then it shows that you're flexible. Or the other way I've suggested answering the question is throwing it back at them and saying, well, how much were you thinking? Or how much do you think I should be paid? And if they ask you again, then you can give them a number. But good answer. I would just avoid one number, because it makes you look a bit inflexible, and also because they might want to pay you more than that.
I agree with you. Yes,
yeah.
But exactly now I am waiting for interview with some factory, and I exactly know their salary. That's why I said which number.
Right.
But
so
yes,
if you've done your research, then that's great. Then you can say, oh, well, I've researched a bit, and my understanding is that your starting wage is blank, and I'm good with that. But I'm willing to work for a raise later on or something. You can tell them that you've researched, too. You can say, oh, well, I've researched the company, and it's my understanding that this is how much you pay starting employees. That's a good answer. Okay?
Okay. Tell me, please, how can I paraphrase? I want to increase my salary. So.
You can say I want to work towards a promotion.
Can you write it because I.
Work towards the word promotion sounds better than a higher salary, but it implies a higher salary. It's a better way to say it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I've got to go, guys. Thanks for coming. Check out my Facebook page. Nice meeting everyone, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.